Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Tuesday edition of Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to carry. It's Tuesday. You know what that means. That means good old Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show will join us here in just a minute. Second portion of the program, our former Gator quarterback, Doug Johnson. Tell us what he's up to these days, get his thoughts on the Gator football season so far, talk a little Kyle Trask and a few other things. So, but in the meantime, we're going to go to the Titan MR hotline, and we're going to travel south to the big town of Ocala. And we're going to have our man, Buddy Martin, join the program. Good morning, Buddy. How are you?
Good morning to you. Your buddy, Terry Norville, came to work for me one time in Ocala. He said, they told me I was going to go to O-Town. I thought it was Orlando. He drove down from Jackson.
I love Ocala, but, Buddy, Ocala is one of my favorite places because they got some great golf courses in Ocala. People don't realize it. But good gracious, they got some good tracks.
Yeah, yes, they do. And I wish I was still playing, but they do have some. HBC comes down and plays occasionally, so there's some good ones.
So, Buddy, we haven't – obviously, I always forget. We don't talk to you till Tuesday, a few days after the Gators win. They go to Vanderbilt, come out of there with a win. Some people say it was sluggish. Some people are upset with the defense. We gave up 17 points, which is not a lot. Just give me your initial thoughts on what you saw in Nashville, Tennessee.
Typical Vandy, as far as I'm concerned. I've been watching this game a long time. If you ask Coach Spurrier, he's talked about how they struggle up there. Sometimes really struggle. And it's just one of those blind spots. How do you get up for Vanderbilt? I mean, it's just hard. And on the road, all those excuses, noon game, what have you. And the defense – It's the type of defense that's vulnerable to criticism because of the third down ratio. I wrote a long piece last week on the defense and Todd Grantham and why I still defend him and like him. But it is a vulnerable defense. And although I asked Coach Grantham if it was a high-risk ratio, risk-reward ratio, and he said no, he didn't think so because they don't blitz that much. Anyway, so I think the defense, I don't know, it's a mystery. Seems like a lot of people are having a problem around the league. Coach Mullen talked about in his press conference. He said, whatever game it was, like Texas A&M, when Kyle Pitts went up between two guys and jumped 20 feet off the ground and caught the ball and caught it, he said, think that was bad defense. I think Jimbo Fisher knows that was a great offensive play. So there's that. But there's Kyle Trask. I mean, look, the guy had a bad day, quote unquote, right? Only 3 touchdown passes. He didn't throw for 500 yards or anything. It was not a great performance, but it was certainly good enough. And every team I've ever seen that's ever played and had a great season had a few close calls. That wasn't even a close call, but it had its moments. So, look, it's a nice big W. It's on to the next thing on this what I call championship drive. And the Gators are going to play in the SEC championship game against Alabama. Now, let's don't get ahead of ourselves too much because that's how you coaches like to think. But let's be honest. The question now on the table is, I know Kentucky's coming to town, all that. Question is, can Florida beat Alabama? And that will be the thing we'll be addressing these next 2 or 3 weeks.
Time will tell. I tell you what, Alabama's a machine right now, buddy. It's the best offense I've ever seen Alabama have. It's unbelievable. But back to what Coach Mullen said at his press conference. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but haven't I been talking about how sometimes it's better offense is better than good defense? Because he talks about the touchdown pass to Kyle Pitts and A&M. Mm-hmm. Well, we can talk about the touchdown pass to Trayvon Grimes the other day.
Yeah.
When Kyle threw that ball, I said no, because he was falling backwards and the ball just kind of fluttered. Mm-hmm. The 2 Vandy guys just didn't make a play on it. Trayvon goes up and makes the play. He trusts his receivers, but that was pretty good defense. It was just a better play by the offensive players. So I have zero concerns about our defense because I'm being realistic. If you watch a lot of college football, nobody is dominant on defense. It's hard to play with the rule changes. I don't think people understand the rule changes favor the offense. And it's hard to tackle people nowadays. It is what it is. Florida is very good on offense. You know, I thought we settled down defensively after the first couple of series. You know, Vanderbilt's tempo, I've never seen Vanderbilt go that fast. I think their tempo caught us off guard.
Did.
Their quarterback made some good throws. We made some wholesale changes on third downs that caught us out of position and communication issues. And I think we settled down after a couple of drives and didn't do that. But listen, your question, I mean, can we beat Alabama? Yeah, we can beat Alabama, but it's going to be damn hard because they are good. I mean, their offense is a machine, like I said. Best Nick Saban's ever had. So it will be a hell of a SEC championship game. I hope. I don't know what they're going to allow into the stadium there, whether it's 15,000, 17, 20,000. It's a shame because we've talked about it, but should be a fun one, no doubt about it.
Well, don't break your arm patting yourself on the back, pal. Okay, be careful. But you're spot on. That was a good analysis. You nailed it right there. And you have been saying that, and you said it the whole season. Good offense, good offense, good offense. Everybody's beatable. I take you back to the summer when people were putting out Heisman lists 10 deep and Kyle Trask's name wasn't even on it. The idea that Florida could, quote unquote, compete with Georgia was, well, maybe. Beat Georgia? No way they're going to beat Georgia. Things change. Seasons change in a week. Alabama right now looks strong. Mark this down. I like Jones a lot, okay? I think he's really good. Watch this. You watch his mechanics. He throws back-footed a lot, okay? A lot. Yes, he does.
I'm going to disagree. I think mechanically he is very sound.
Well, he can step when he steps up, but sometimes he throws a lot back-footed. We'll see who's right about that. He's going to get some picks, okay? He's going to get some picks. Now, Trask can do it and get away with it. He's amazing. I went back and looked at some highlights. The way he drops the ball in the hole of the zones is amazing. Man coverage is a whole other deal. We know he can throw the ball spot on there, but his way he drops the ball, and you know this because you did it well, getting that ball to the receiver at the right time and place, and the high pointing of the ball. Look at his highlights. Go back and look with Pitts. I mean, how many times did he just high point it? And I'll tell you something else. Pitts can catch a low ball really well for a big Ben. What's their one vulnerability? Don't give it to them on their knees. Pitts catches those. So it's an amazing offense, which gets back to the question I put before you. How do you know greatness? How do you recognize greatness? Shane, you flirted with that some yourself. You had those moments. It's a moment or a play or a season. What is greatness? And the question I have for you, which I'll be asking you in a couple of weeks, why did we not see greatness in Lexington, Kentucky last year when number 11 came on the field with the last few ticks of the third quarter and what he did? We didn't see this coming.
No, we didn't. I don't think anybody did. I mean, you hate to see someone get an opportunity due to injury, but if Felipe doesn't get hurt, buddy, your book you're going to write about Kyle Trask does not happen. Sometimes, and I've talked with Coach Spurrier about this on other shows, sometimes coaches make a bunch of mistakes playing people. If you look at Michigan has gone the entire year with this kid named Joe Milton, I believe, big, strong kid, has no clue how to play quarterback. Mm-hmm. They finally benched him. They bring in this kid, Cade McNamara, and buddy, he goes lights out, throws 4 touchdowns, leads them to an overtime victory. Same thing with UCLA. Chip Kelly hung his hat on this Dorian Thompson, some kid. They struggled last year. He's still their starter. He doesn't play Saturday because of COVID. They insert another guy, and they almost beat Oregon, who's supposed to be the cream of the crop out there. So sometimes you don't really know until that guy gets his opportunity. And I use my own example. Now, I was fortunate to play for Coach Spurrier in his system, but my question is, and somebody brought this up to me the other day, what if Galen Hall had allowed me to have an opportunity to play. Does Coach Spurrier ever get the job at Florida if we win games then under Galen Hall? Who knows? So coaches make a lot of, I don't say bad decisions, but sometimes they get enamored with certain players and they don't give the other kids opportunities. And at the quarterback position, it's hard because only one can play at a time. So Kyle's story is phenomenal. And he continues getting better and better and better. And like I said, I believe I think it's a 2-horse race now for the Heisman Trophy. Fields is out. Trevor Lawrence is out. I think whoever plays the best in Atlanta is going to win the Heisman Trophy.
It's down to beating Alabama for him, just about. And the sad part about it was he could throw for 5 touchdown passes against Alabama. Florida could lose 43-42, and he might not get it. That's the odd part.
Because now, and it's changed over probably the last decade, it's all about usually the best player on the best team with the record. If Tebow won it, and I think we had like 4 losses. That just doesn't happen anymore. It's usually the best player on the best team, whether Florida's the best team or not. But if they beat Alabama, we're sitting in the 4-team playoff, so he will win the Heisman Trophy.
I wrote a column a couple of weeks ago about voting the Heisman. I've been voting in it since Spurrier played. That's how long I've been voting. I missed a few years on out of sports, but the fact is, I don't think I've ever voted. Like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I'm sorry I didn't vote for you number 1. I think I might have had you 3rd on my ballot. But the only other person was Rex, who I did vote for. He didn't get it, but I voted for the last 3. I don't make homework picks. I don't say, well, Shane's my buddy, I'm going to put him number 1. And so I think the thing is now is in this height, as far as I'm concerned, I'm kind of a throwback. You got to earn it, and it's never decided until really late in the year. It's a little bit unfair to say whoever wins the Florida-Alabama game is the Heisman winner, but that's probably going to happen. And as far as your comment about Coach Spurrier, you're exactly right. I quoted him 2 weeks ago in a piece I did on Pitts about sometimes the coaches don't get the right guys on the field. They make mistakes. He told me that he told me that many times. As you know, had he not come to Gainesville, would we have known about Shane Matthews? Would you have played 14 years in the NFL? It's time and circumstance. We have a thing that we think about if we play hard, play good, we're going to be rewarded. No, we miss on a lot of good players. It makes you think, how many more Kyle Trask are there out there that never get a chance?
Right. We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Melton Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. It comes from our good friend Dan. He says, it's all about Atlanta. If Florida doesn't match the 63-3 against Kentucky, the crying Gator fans will be back complaining, talking about, it's interesting that we have Kentucky the week after they play Alabama. So, buddy, it's all going to be about the score. Now, you can't really compare the quarterbacks in this game unless Trask only plays a half, because Mac Jones played the first half in one series in the second half, and they turned it over to Bryce Young.
Right.
But the bottom line is for us to win the game and stay healthy. But, gosh, I can't wait for the Florida-Alabama game.
Yeah, I just wonder if I can, and I don't mean to be trying to drive your show, tell you what to do, but I'll get to the words residual impact. That's a phrase that Urban Meyer and I have been using now all season in our podcast. Now it's the time to say, playing an SEC, pounding every week, what does that do to your program? We talked about it. Now we're seeing it surface. Look at one side of the conference. Look at these teams. Tennessee, my goodness, look what's happened in Tennessee. Mississippi State, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, maybe Kentucky. These guys are getting crap beat out of them right now. There's probably a few others in there. But on the other side, you've got Alabama, A&M, Florida, Auburn, whatever. And so it's the teams that are still standing that have the best chance. And the residual impact does factor in on this particular season, especially with COVID when you're already thin, right? So I think this is going to be the thing. Who is left standing? It looks like right now it's going to be those 3 teams, Alabama, A&M, and Florida.
Well, yeah, we've preached year in and year out the SEC, the most dominant conference in all of football. I agree 100% with that. But this year, and it's like this, I think, in every conference, buddy. There's a couple at the very top, and then everybody else is kind of gathered in there as the same. They're all bunched up. You got Florida, Alabama, A&M, and then the next tier is probably Georgia and Auburn. The rest of the guys are very average. They're going to get their 4, maybe 5 wins if they're lucky. but they don't have those 2 or 3 cupcakes to go 7-5. But yeah, it's, and it's no different in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 or Big 12. There's a handful of teams that are going to be dominant year in and year out. And I still, to this day, cannot figure out, and I talked about this on another show I was on yesterday, why people were on the Tennessee bandwagon. Because,
me neither.
Listen, at the beginning of the year, buddy, they had the longest winning streak. I don't remember if it was in the country or in the SEC, where they had won 8 straight games, but they had not beaten one team that had a winning record. And then they start the year at 2-0, and everybody's all they are a bad football team.
They are.
And I don't know how Jeremy Pruitt survives. He
may not, the way things are going. A lot of talk now about that. Tennessee didn't have the money. Philip Fuller's not going to let him get fired, but I'm telling you, he is on a hot seat. And Tennessee, you're right, but you said something about the Big Ten. Wait a minute, not so fast, my friend. These teams you say are good every year. What the heck has happened to Michigan and Penn State? Program is completely falling apart.
You want me to tell you? It's quarterback play. And watch Michigan play better from here on out, as long as they play the kid that came in and threw for like 275 yards in 2 quarters and 4 touchdowns. If they play him, they will be a better program. Penn State has no idea what they're doing at the quarterback position. It is bad.
And James Franklin's in a lot of trouble right now. There's a lot of things coming out of that program that is not good.
But if you look at just think about the teams in the SEC. Florida, good quarterback. Alabama, good quarterback. Auburn, A&M has an experienced quarterback.
Yeah, playing better.
So and then Matt Corral is having just as good a year as Trask and Mac Jones, but he's on a bad football team, so he's not going to get the love. But it's all quarterback driven nowadays, and if you don't have a guy that's consistent, you ain't going to win any games.
I agree, and that's certainly what's wrong with it right now. So we'll see how by the way, just in case, we'll talk about this, I'm sure, as we go along. You give Florida a shot, at least to maybe beat Alabama, but that's going to be, I don't know what the odds are. But if they don't, there could be a sweet bowl game ahead. They're starting already to publicize it. Orange Bowl, Miami, and Florida, both top 10 teams. Could be playing.
Oh, we will destroy Miami. Miami is the most overrated top 10 team I've ever seen.
That's all right.
But yes, can we beat Alabama? Yes. Is it going to be difficult? Heck yeah, because I think they are really, really good. So we will see. I mean, we still got a lot of football to be played.
Yeah.
Florida, Miami, and the Orange Bowl. Interesting. I don't even want to think about that.
I don't either, but I'm just saying that's not bad if you got to say a fallback position. I still believe, and you do too, that they can get there. It's going to take a lot. They're going to have to play their best. If you believe that Kyle Trask hasn't played his best football yet, and most people do, although it's hard to believe how much better he could play. By the way, you never have answered my question about greatness yet, but we'll get to that in a minute. Then, this is possible too, because they got Pitts coming back. They got their defensive players intact. The defense should be playing better. They got a shot, but Alabama is good. But Alabama is not unbeatable. And so there's 2-3 weeks is a long time. We will see. Greatness, Shane. How do you know when you see it?
Oh, gosh, I don't really know the answer to that, buddy. I mean, I look at consistency. That's what I like. And I think that's what Kyle's done the best, has been a consistent player, throws completions. He doesn't have, when you think back to like the Kyler Murrays, the Johnny Manziels, those guys that won the Heisman, they always had that 1 or 2 electrifying, they escape the rush and roll out and avoid 5 different defenders and throw some touchdown pass. I don't think he has that moment.
Good point. That's what I wanted you to say.
But he doesn't need that point, that moment. You see what I'm saying? Because
maybe he does though. It's that high. And you're right on. You're spot on. What I wanted to go to. It's what they call the Heisman moment, right?
Right. But think about Danny. Danny didn't have a Heisman moment. Danny was consistent and just threw touchdowns and did his job. But that was almost 20 years ago. It was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, a long time.
So I mean, I don't know if you have to have a Heisman moment, because he's been so consistent, and I think that's more important than having one moment. Now, granted, let's say in the SEC championship, Trask avoids the rush, rolls left, and slings a deep post to somebody for a touchdown. Maybe that's his moment. But I just think he's a consistent player, which to me is the most important thing. And like I said, I think it's his award right now. I think if this season ended, he wins it. But
I'm with you on all of that. I think you're spot on. But I want to say one thing. I went back and looked at some of his highlights. Can you tell me your favorite throw or favorite moment for Kyle Trask? This guy's thrown all these touchdown passes, 31. And now going back to last year, was there a moment that he had, you said, boy, I like that was really something there? And how much of it was receiver and how much was it quarterback?
Well, I think when you look at offense, a lot of it is the quarterback. A lot of it is his receivers, the players around him. If you don't have good players around you, you cannot win the Heisman Trophy. You can't be successful. He's got good players around him, and he's got a dang good play caller who's the head coach, scheming up, getting people open. I can't think of my favorite throw. My favorite throw would probably not be a touchdown. I love it when Kyle takes his steps, puts his back foot in the ground and drives balls on skinny posts and things of that nature. How about
the dime he dropped on Pitts, right, and over two guys against Georgia, which is, and it wasn't even a touchdown. But there's been a couple of those little drop-ins and shots like that. But you're right. There is no one Kyle Trask moment. Maybe he's going to have that Heisman moment.
Right, but I think when you look at him and Mac Jones, who are the top two right now,
right,
neither one of them are the kind of quarterback that's probably going to have, quote, that moment, because usually to me that moment is escapability, making some unbelievable play for a quarterback. I'm thinking of the Baker Mayfields, the Kyler Murrays, those kind of guys, Doug Flutie with his Hail Mary.
John Elway made them all the time. John Elway.
Yeah, so maybe he does. I don't know, but I don't think he needs a moment to win the Heisman Trophy. He keeps doing what he's doing, and he beats Alabama. It's his award.
It's precisely the point I want to make. It's a body of work, but bodies of work don't usually win the Heisman, and we'll see if it does this time. What was yours, Shane Matthews? You had some moments. You had a great career at Florida. Hey, dude, how many guys were MVP of the SEC championship game? Not that many. And didn't you have an MVP for the league one year? Most outstanding.
Well, I didn't have the MVP of the championship game. I was the player of the year in the league twice.
Okay, well, I don't know where I got that, but Google's got it wrong or something. Yeah. But you got named a little boy from Mississippi who came to Florida and sat the bench, became the player of the year in the SEC. Shane, look at me.
And like I said, I had a lot of good players around me. I had a good coach. No, it's true though. It's true. A quarterback's only as good as the people around him.
I get all that, but you had to make the plays, dude.
Well, that's true.
And this is what Kyle Trask's secret is. Every time he's had an obstacle in front of him, well, they can't beat Georgia. Well, this, well, that, whatever. He's overcome it. He was there that moment. His moment was that Georgia game when he got down and he had to come back. And everybody said, well, Florida can't beat Georgia. Guess what? They can. They did. And Kyle Trask had an excellent game, was on an unbelievable run. That's probably his moment, but you can't see that on film and recognize it.
Correct. Refresh your vehicle and your brand with a vehicle wrap from Wrap Spot. November is your lucky month at Wrap Spot. Mention promo code Shane to receive 13% off your vehicle wrap. Got a few more minutes with our man Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. You can follow him on Twitter at Buddy Show. Buddy, I didn't get to hear Coach Mullen's press conference yesterday. Anything good come out of it?
I like the fact that he talked about the Vandy win, about how, it wasn't the greatest game and all that sort of stuff. He did. He talked a little bit about great offense versus defense. I got my whole. He said. I asked him. I said, what crosses your mind when you get into a game where you got the numbers to concern yourself with, even though you want to win first, and it's always team first. But you got to be conscious of the fact that Kyle Trask is 2 touchdowns away from, or the touchdown away from getting his 4th game. And I said, what about that? You got personal goals. And he said, it doesn't cross my mind, he says. I've done this a long time, have a great understanding of individual awards. They're going to come your way with a team success, which is what you say. Just kind of seems that that's how it works out in college football. He says, so, we keep winning. I don't know. He says, I think there are probably awards lists. There are probably some of the guys this week are on it. And he said, maybe we don't put up big numbers, but their teams still win. And he says, and we're still rolling along. And he said, that goes for a lot of the awards. So he kind of dodged that question. Says Kyle's going to be putting up pretty good numbers, and he'll have the opportunity to get some individual awards. Now, do you believe him when he said he wasn't aware of the fact that Kyle had 3 touchdown passes and needed one more to?
No, I mean, as a play caller, I don't think he's getting caught up in all that, because here's the thing, buddy. I can promise you that if you polled Dan Mullen and Kyle Trask and said, if we could put you two guys, the Gators, into the 14 playoff right now, and you not win the Heisman Trophy, would you do it? And I'd be damned, both of them would say yes.
Yeah, that's a different question, though. I said, was he aware of it? How he responds to it. He claims he wasn't even aware of it. Or
I don't. He probably wasn't, because in the heat of the moment, you're busy trying to figure out calling the best plays against whoever you're playing. You have no idea of the stats or any of that stuff.
Maybe. One more thing I wanted to say, and this is an amazing stat. It was tweeted by Tim Brewster. Tight ends. 13 touchdowns in 7 games, first in the country. 3 tight ends. What team has 3 really good tight ends who can catch the ball? Maybe one of them is a good blocker, and not. You got 3 guys in, and led by, of course, their All-American in Pitts. But I mean, Gamble and Zipper are not chopped liver. To have guys like that, 13 touchdown passes. Think about it for your tight ends, Shane. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenal job by the coaching staff getting guys open. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I agree.
Pitts has made some great catches. The other guys have been wide open on their touchdowns.
Well, I don't know about that pass he threw he threw last week. He hit him on the run to Zipper, all right, on the goal line, on the in line, and a perfect throw. I mean, it was it was
a good throw, but I'm saying it wasn't a hard catch.
Mm-hmm.
Pitts has made some. His catches have been under duress. But Kamari Gamble's touchdowns have been pretty much catch in stride and walk in with nobody near you. But yeah, it's I just think the coaching staff done a tremendous job because it's fun to design ball plays when you have a guy that understands what they're doing. And like I told you, enjoy it this year, because we're going to be a different offense next year.
For sure. You better enjoy it this year. And what a year it's been. Like you mentioned, the play calling, the team, the quarterback play, the defense just got a little bit better. And I'm okay with it. I'm like you. I like Todd Grantham. But the fact is, that's the one vulnerability. And we'll see. Nick Saban's going to exploit that. That's for sure.
Well, there's also some rumors out there that Todd Grantham may be in line to be the next head coach at Virginia Tech. I believe he played there, and they're not real happy up there in Blacksburg.
Guys picked out. I don't think it's Grantham, but anyway.
Well, like I said, nothing against defensive guys, but I would never hire defensive guys as head coach ever again.
I know. I'm with you on that. We're doing. I'm an HBC kind of guy. I like that. A head coach.
Before we let you go, you had sent me a couple of texts about Dabo Swinney.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, this is the year you got to cut the coaches a little slack. I mean, Dan's been a little squirrely on a couple of things people say, but Dan has a sense of humor. I loved it when he jumped on Cassidy Hill for having Christmas lights on in the press conference of the day. It was funny. He was teasing her. And I think Dan's been under duress like everybody else. He's had COVID, by the way. And I think the fact is that Dabo went off the reservation with his comments. I mean, what happened in Tallahassee should never happen again. They have to have an on-site arbiter to say, look, play or don't play. You can't let doctors be arguing if they're going to play or not. So I think that's a bad look. And Dabo, I think, kind of had his COVID moment, and he's a hell of a coach. But everybody's had one. Dan's had one. It seems like the only guy that hadn't so far is Saban, but he's due for one.
Chris Dory Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Dory Mortgage today at 352-244-0800. Buddy, who you got on the show tonight?
Got you tonight as usual. And, of course, we do our picks, SEC picks with David Moulton. We have a surprise guest. I want to say a quick congratulations to Robbie Andrew and Pat Dooley, who are retiring this week, who've done a really great job for 30 years, bringing us Gator news, covered you. Been doing it for a long time. I'm sure they'll keep going in some fashion, but they're stepping down December the 1st. And congratulations to Robbie and Pat, and well done.
Yep, no doubt about it. Buddy, be safe down there, and we'll talk to you tonight, my man.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you.
Yep. Comfort Temp. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. This month, get a free annual maintenance plan with every residential duct cleaning purchase, $199 value. Our service department is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for your convenience. Our plays of the day is players. Last night in the Monday Night Football game, I'm giving it to Jared Goff, who went 39 of 51 for 376 yards. But his two receivers, Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, 11 catches for 145 for Kupp. Woods had 12 for 130. Great offensive performance by the Rams, beating the Bucs. Tom Brady did not look good last night. Neither did the Bucs offense. So that's our players of the day, brought to you by our good friends at Comfort Temp. We're going to take our first time out of the program. At Center State Bank, we put business first. We're the largest community bank in the state of Florida and understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. Center State has 5 convenient Alachua County locations to serve you better. Center State Bank, member FDIC. When we come back, we'll be joined by former Gator quarterback Doug Johnson.
This is Shane Matthews. Thank you for listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning. You can also check me out on Inside the Huddle with Steve Russell and the head ball coach Steve Spurrier. Tune in every Tuesday during football season on WRUF 98.1 FM, 8:50 a.m. at 10 o'clock in the morning, or find us on your favorite podcast platform. We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Ribs, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Davis Gainesville Chevrolet, Miapa Latin Cafe, Wrap Spot, Okido America, Gators Dockside, Radware for all your promotional needs, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, TB Financial, Meadowbrook Golf Course, Dar Shakow Insurance. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the Advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to this Tuesday edition of Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Celebration points where the Gators come to celebrate with premium brands like Bass Pro Shop, Tommy Hilfiger, Hotel Indigo, Nike, Skechers, Sushi Hana, and coming spring of 2021, the HBC's new restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, and Visor's Rooftop Bar. We will see you at Celebration Point where the Gators come to celebrate. We're now going to go back to the Titan MR hotline. We're joined by a guy who did a little celebrating, got the visors thrown at him a few times. Doug Johnson. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Good morning, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Appreciate you taking time to join the program. Just want to get your thoughts on, the Gators so far are having a tremendous year, had that one hiccup to A&M, but just give me your initial thoughts of what you've seen from this Florida football team.
Well, I think it's fun to watch, and it's been a while since it's been fun to watch. So I think this is what Gator fans expect. Back in the day when McElwain and Muschamp blessed us with their presence, I told them both that if you're going to lose, you better lose scoring points because that's what Gator fans like. So I think it's a fun team to watch. Obviously, there's some holes in it, and defensively speaking, So I think that's gonna be a hurdle that might be tough to overcome, but we can score points, and that means we've always got a shot in a ball game. So it's fun to watch.
Doug, you've seen a lot of Gator football. You grew up in Gainesville, watched a lot of it. A lot of people are saying this might be the best offense Florida football has ever seen. I'm trying to remember. Were you on the 96 team?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's the only one statistically that is close to it. I think Tebow may have had one, but what are your thoughts on that comparison?
To be honest with you, I don't think Florida has played a legit defense yet, besides an A&M. I think that there's a lot of guys running downfield open, which obviously it's a scheme, attribute. But, if you're starting to talk about comparing previous teams, I mean, I don't see how you could try to compare, especially to that 96 team with Ike and Riedel and Fred Taylor running the football. I think that would be that would be kind of I wouldn't agree with that comparison at all. And they played some really, really good defenses too, and still threw a bunch of points up on them. So I think that especially this year with the lack of being able to get together as teams, I think defenses has struggled throughout the conference, minus Alabama. I think that's why you're seeing a lot of teams score a bunch of points this year. So, but I'm not trying to take anything away from the team this year. But I think there's some, when we're talking about offenses and powerhouse offenses back in the Florida history, I would not say that it's a better, especially than that 96 team.
Yeah, I agree with that. Doug, when you look at the quarterback position, it's interesting. Coach Burr and I were talking on another show yesterday about how sometimes coaches get it wrong when it comes to who they should be playing. And, you go back, and if Felipe doesn't get injured against Kentucky last year, Kyle Trask doesn't get his opportunity. And obviously he is taking full advantage of that opportunity. Your thoughts on what you've seen of Trask going back to last year, and he's on a historical pace this year, just shattering every record there is. Just your thoughts on what he's done so far.
Back 2 years ago when I was doing radio with Jeff, I was a big, I was trying to pump Trask up when that Felipe drama was going down. And, it's funny how a lot of people called in and said, how can you say Trask is our guy over Felipe? Have you ever seen Felipe? And, Felipe was one of those guys that probably looked good in practice, and Trask isn't going to wow you in a 7-on-7, but the guy's just got some intangibles about him. He doesn't have a strong arm. He's not some crazy athlete out on the field, but he's really good with his vision downfield. And he throws balls in spots where guys can catch him. I mean, his misses, even when he misses, the misses aren't that bad. Whereas you see a lot of guys when they miss a guy, it's really, really bad. He's just a kid that loves the game. Obviously, he's easy to root for because you can tell he's all about the team. He's not a me guy, which drove me nuts about Felipe. I mean, that guy was such a me guy, and he was awful. If you're going to be a me guy, you better be a stud. But even then, they're hard to root for. But I'm happy for him. I mean, I'm happy for him for the fact that he's a guy that obviously will grind it out. I mean, if you look at his career going all the way back to high school, he's a patient kid. And now he's got his opportunity, and he's just, is he going to wow you in a workout? No. But he's just a guy that goes out there and he loves the moment. The moment's never too big for him. You can look at his eyes. And can tell that he's not on a stage that he's not comfortable with. So, I'm happy for him. I think that he's got a lot of good football in front of him if we can just keep him out of getting banged up. And let's give a lot of credit to Dan Mullen. If you watch a game, there's a lot of balls that are thrown to guys that doesn't take a very talented guy to make a completion in a lot of spots. So Dan's got it going on right now. He's drawing up plays that are putting guys in positions that they're not contested catches. I think the running game is sufficient enough. But so there is credit to be spread around, not just to Trask, because it takes a total team effort for a quarterback to play well. So I think there's a lot of fingers that can be pointed to some other guys and coaches of why it's been so successful this year.
Yeah, when you brought up Dan Mullen, I've been saying this all year long. I feel like, this is year 3 for him. Even going back to when he was here with Urban and Tebow, this by far to me is the best that I've ever seen him and his staff scheme up and attack with different route combinations. And I don't know if it's because of the quarterback he has, because if you go back, he coached Tebow. He had Leak for 1 year, but Tebow was in and out. Then he goes to Mississippi State, has Prescott and Fitzgerald, more running type quarterbacks. This is the first time that he's had just a pure drop back type quarterback. And I'm anxious to see if he changes his recruiting philosophy from here on out because of the success they're having throwing the football. But I'm with you. They're getting guys wide open at times.
They are. And, Dan is it's funny how a lot of people try to talk about Dan and the spread offense quarterbacks. And if you look at them, none of them were great runners. I mean, Dak Prescott is not a great runner, right? Tebow is a fullback. He's not a make you miss guy, so, and now he's got a true, pure pocket thrower, right? Trask isn't going to make anybody scheme against him as far as running the football. So what I do think it does in recruiting is it opens the door to the pure drop back guy, right? And it doesn't, so it allows Dan to go recruit not just the guy that perception wise can run only, he's a runner, then he can throw, right? That's what everybody thinks the spread offense is. And clearly it's not. I mean, it's just truly you're just in the shotgun formation and you can pull it if you think you need to pull it. I mean, that's really what we're talking about right now as far as the spread offense. I mean, that's really what it has, evolved to at Florida. But no, I think Dan's done a great job. I think he's got a quarterback now that he feels comfortable calling a plethora of plays where he knows that he's either can get out of the play, right? Or he's got a quarterback that's not going to make a bad decision at that play that he called isn't there. He's a guy that'll manage it, check it down, throw it away. Whereas previously, when you got a guy that you're afraid that going to make a bunch of bad decisions because all he does is rely on arm strength, and he has to see it before he lets it go. Your playbook kind of shrinks as a play caller, and you get kind of nervous just opening it up like you want to. But he's got a guy now that I think he's really comfortable in calling those high risk, high reward plays that he knows it's not going to force it if it's not there. Just check it down and move on to the next one.
We're speaking with Doug Johnson here on the Titan More Hotline. A few more minutes left with Doug. Doug, we got a text here on the Titan More Hotline. It comes from Hank, and I think we talked about this when you were on several months ago during the whole pandemic COVID shutdown. He wants to know, tell us the story about you hitting Bobby Bowden in pregame warmup.
Well, that was a total. So to be honest with you, that was we had a fight right during the game, and Coach wanted to break the fight up. Bobby, I didn't even see Coach Bowden in the middle of the whole skirmish. So they had a strength coach that basically come to find out and wanted to instigate the fight. We had a couple guys thrown out. They had a couple guys thrown out. But, our two guys that got thrown out were starters. Their two guys, I think, were, guys that never even played. So, obviously, come to find out it was orchestrated. But Coach Bowden was, I guess, in the mix, and Coach wanted to break it up, do something to break it up. So, yeah, it was it was kind of a chaotic scene.
It was in pregame warm up, and it was routes on air, and you just sailed one wide and hit Coach Bowden in the head. How'd it work? How'd that play out?
No, they were so basically the middle of the field, they started fighting. The whole team came together in the middle of the field, and we were detached, doing our pregame stuff. And Coach was like, "Dougie, pick up something and break that up." So that's what Dougie did. And but it didn't hit Coach Bowden. But nobody even knew he was even in there. I don't even know why he was even in the middle of all that.
We got a Facebook Live here brought to you by Mellon Law, the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. Jeff wants to know, he wants you to talk about how difficult was it for you when you and Noah rotated in that FSU game?
I think it's always that would be a difficult situation if the two guys weren't close. Noah and I are buddies. We were buddies then. We're buddies now. And if you try to do that with two guys who are, think that's their spot, that'd be a difficult deal. Now, if there was two role players like we have now, where we know what we're getting when one goes in, and we know what we're expecting when another goes in. But it just worked for that one particular game with two guys that were buddies off the field as well. And it ended up, obviously, it was a great victory for Florida. But like I said, it would be a tough thing if the two guys weren't close.
In that Florida State game, would you say the throw to Kwesi is the one moment that stands out the most in your career? And I want to say you checked off to that play, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't look at it as the one play. There's a lot of games, we won a lot of games when I was there, and we beat some really good Tennessee teams as well. 3-1 against Georgia, and Georgia they were really talented back then. It's funny, I talk to people now when it comes to that Florida Georgia game. Georgia's always been talented, and it goes a lot back to what the mindset of a team is going into a game. Football is a lot about confidence mentally, because when you're talking about, powerhouses like Florida and Georgia, and the powerhouses of the SEC now, Alabama, A&M's, the LSU's of the world, and now you're talking about Ole Miss thinking they can compete with anybody. The mental makeup of a team and the confidence of a team mentally going into it, man, it has so much to do with what's going to, the end of the day. And back then you could just see it in those teams' eyes when we got up on them, that they were like, here we go again. And I'm hoping that, when I talk to the team over there at Florida, I'm hoping that, it gets back to that, where when teams play Florida, the here we go again moment, look happens in our opponent's eyes, because you've seen it, and I've seen it. So, and we're talking about teams who are just as talented as we were. So I think we're working towards that. I think Florida is now getting back on the map. I always said that for Florida to get back to where we were, we needed to have that year where maybe some guys that were, 3-star guys played like 5-star guys, right? That one underrated team had a big year and I think this is that year. I mean, if you look at our squad right now, it's not like we're running around the field with a bunch of 5-star guys like the Alabamas and like the Clemsons, but I think we've got some 3-stars that are playing like 5-stars, and that's just the same as the NFL. I mean, your draft is really, you can sum your draft up as far as what you grab in the 4th, 5th, 6th rounds, right? That's where your value comes in. Everybody can pick a 1st or 2nd rounder, but it's really where the quality guys you get late. And I think we're seeing some quality guys that were maybe have overlooked or maybe not ranked as high as what they should have been ranked, and we're playing at a high level.
Last thing for you, Doug. I know here in Gaines, you do a lot of great things for the community. You've always had your fishing tournament. I want to say it got postponed this past year. You all scheduled to try to have it in June this year? Yeah.
So we'll do it again in June this year. Yeah, we had to postpone because we didn't know what was going on, obviously, with COVID and everything. But yeah, it's a great it's a great foundation. We just did about a $500,000 renovation to the Boys and Girls Club here in Gainesville, all new fields, all new lights. We're really going to beef that program up again, the football program, where it's going to be the cornerstone of our community with football and lacrosse. So we're excited about that. We're about to do a renovation of the gymnasium as well. So, yeah, I mean, I always try to encourage people, and especially in the Gainesville community, to get behind this charity event. It's a blast. It's a great fishing deal for families to get involved, and it's all the money staying back here. In my opinion, a cornerstone of our community, to where it's housing a bunch of athletic events, but it's also affecting kids that wouldn't have a chance if they didn't have a place to go. So yeah, I'm excited about it. It's like going on our 20th year. We've raised 7 figures plus for the club here, so it's a good deal.
Good stuff, my man. Well, appreciate you taking the time. Y'all be safe, and we'll talk to you soon, Doug.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yep, that's Doug Johnson. Join us on the Titan Tomorrow Hotline. We're going to take our second time out of the pro. When we come back, we'll wrap this show up. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
Hey, Gator Nation. This is your former head ball coach, Steve Spurrier. Check out our show, Inside the Huddle with Shane Matthews and Steve Russell, every Tuesday during football season on 8:50 a.m. and 98.1 FM WRUF at 10 o'clock a.m.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our gridiron sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, where you matter most. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. Celebration Point Town Center, Center State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Pomodoro Cafe, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, MB Listing, Cornerstone Financial, McDonald's Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie, Chick-fil-A on Archer Road, Aver and Smith Personal Injury Attorneys, Orange Theory Fitness, PRP Regeneration Specialist, and Dowling Signs. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, you can visit our website, potupwithshane.com, and click the advertise button or call Freddie at 352-284-3733. Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Facebook Live question from Rick, brought to you by Meldon Law. Which club, east or to west? The one over by Buchholz is the one that Doug sends all the money from the fishing tournament to. They've done a tremendous job. That place used to be really, really bad, and the renovations have really helped out the youth programs there. Don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have Chris Harry from FloridaGators.com talking Gator hoops. Their first couple of games have been canceled due to COVID. They were supposed to be playing up at the Mohegan Sun up in Connecticut in a tournament. They will not be participating. But we'll get his thoughts on this season. In this basketball team. And tomorrow is also JC. We'll probably do some of our picks tomorrow. Don't forget to follow us and like us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Today's show's a wrap, brought to you by Wrap Spot. Be safe out there, folks. We will see you tomorrow.